Hi, welcome to my channel Mostly Knitting. I'm Tash and this is day 6 of my Vlogmas series. So it's Tuesday the 6th of May and I'm recording from Sydney, Australia. I'm recording a little bit later in the day today because I had a 7 a.m. start and it is quite hard for me to get a recording in before I leave, but I did have an early finish, so I thought I'd just record when I get home. So it's about 2:30. This is what I wore to work, so I'll show you what I wore. This is a version of Paper Dolls by Kate Davies. I made this in 2018 and you can see it doesn't look anything like Paper Dolls because I used the Paper Dolls pattern framework, and you can see that's my first Paper Dolls over there that I made. I made that in 2011, and then I decided to make one. I was inspired by a lady, Emily, in California. That's her Ravelry name. She had a beautiful one with these really lovely tonal browns. I went for a very different color scheme. I think I prefer hers, but this is the yarn I had and I just wanted to try it. I do quite like this sort of grey and turquoise. This is Madeline Tosh Merino Light. The grey is Silver Fox and the little purple is Venetian. And this is actually not Tosh Merino Light, but it's another fingering weight single ply yarn. The lady's not dying anymore. I think it's called Kindred Yarn and Design, and the colorway Hadley. And it's actually I followed pretty much all of the features of the pattern that I did in the original, but just with changing up the yoke design. So all of the decreases and the numbers, the corrugated ribbing and I-cord edges. Corrugated ribbing really is not very elastic, so it's something to think about with. I wouldn't necessarily switch it out. Like, that's part of the design. You have to think about it if you're switching that out for regular. So corrugated ribbing is where you have the knits in one color and the pearls in the other. And it has that on the bottom as well. So I've made this one fairly cropped. So it sits with this high-waisted skirt. So my navel's right here. And yes, I've made it quite short. This one was significantly longer. This was my first one out of, gosh, look at that. I was knitting everything really long. This is Rowan Cash Soft 4-ply yarn in sort of more traditional colours. In fact, that might even be the colours in the yarn in her sample. I'll have to take a look. So you can see probably there a little bit better the corrugated ribbing, the little girls. I added hair to them. This was in 2011 was the first time when I really started playing around with short rows in the round and being quite unhappy with wrap and turns. So I switched them up with Sunday short rows, which are very similar to Japanese short rows, just using a strand of yarn instead of a clip. I do have a tutorial on Sunday short rows, I think, or at least Japanese short rows. It's the same principle, you just use a strand of yarn instead of a stitch marker. But yes, you can see quite clearly there that there are short rows in the back, and I did the same here. And so it's got an I-cord feature. Oh, it's bottom up too. Very rare for me to knit bottom up, so that's always a bit risky when you're sort of like, oh, is that going to be long enough? Obviously I'm experienced enough and comfortable enough now that I could always sort of cut it off and add a little bit more in the length if I wanted to, but who wants to, right? You do that if you have to. So, if you can possibly plan ahead and get it right. And I am actually very happy with this one. I'm trying to think. Oh, the only other thing that I did do with both of them was I did not decrease down. I think the final stitch count is meant to be something like 90 stitches, and I knew that was going to be way too high and tight. So I went down to, I think, 108, and all of those details and links to both of these are in my Ravelry project page. The other handmade item that I'm wearing, this is for Me Made May, is the skirt. Now, I have shown this before, but you may not have seen it, depending on how long you've been watching, so I'll pretend you haven't seen it. If you have, sorry, boring. This is V9090, so Vogue 9090. It is a fantastic skirt pattern, and in fact, over here I've got 4 others. This one is the midi length. I've made 3 full length and 1 other midi length. I'll show those in a second. It's got an invisible zip in the back. It's got a yoke section. It's reasonably high-waisted, at least the size I cut out. It's got pleats, and it's like a center fold, like a fold-in pleat, and the pleats are stitched down a couple of inches. Sorry, I've got like a talking headless person talking at you. It's got pockets. And yeah, it's got heaps of room. So as long as you've got the fit right for the waist, the rest is fine. Like there's heaps and heaps of room. You've got pockets, so you don't, as far as fitting goes, it's like super easy. So yeah, you just get the right sort of upper thing for the yoke and away you go. The other ones that I've made, I'll just show you quickly. I'm keeping an eye on the time. I can't remember what order I made them in. I think maybe I made this one first with some fabric from Spotlight. This is like a cotton linen blend. This one I didn't do. This is probably my first. I need to go back and put like a little hook and eye in there. Yes, I just didn't get around to it and haven't done it. I should do because that looks pretty rubbish there. But yeah, invisible zip. And it's, you know, it's fun to try to sort of make sure you, I didn't obviously do any pattern matching there. I'm trying to think if I did on this one here. Did I do any? Oh, I did. Look at that. Look at that, the pattern matching. Go me. Oh. Anyway, yes, I was very conscious of trying to at least make that one. And did I do a better job of the, I think I was so lazy and I did a better job of probably the invisible zip, but I'm too lazy to do hook and eyes. Anyway, I really like that one. That's a full length one, and I've got some really bright pink. Who knows, I might wear these in May, but I thought just in case I don't, I'll show you now. This one might be my favorite. This is fabric from Tessuti, and see how it's got like this little gold embossed, yeah, so pretty. And yeah, again, I didn't do the hook and eye, but you know, I reckon if you can get that right to the top, you can kind of get away with it. Well, at least I get away with it. I mean, I don't know about get away with it, but I certainly did. I wear it like that. And then I think this was the last one. This is my other midi one. Sorry if I'm talking facing that direction. The microphone's here, so hopefully you can hear what I've been saying. This is another midi length one in like another sort of, what do you call it? Like it's got like an embroidered kind of fabric. Anyway, I had so much fun sewing these, and I think that's one of the nice things is once you've got the fit right on a pattern, like I can definitely cut this out and sew it up in a day. And that's very satisfying because you know, I'm going to buy that fabric. There's really nothing tricky in there. Once you've learned how to do an invisible zip, and I don't know if it's still, where I learned how to do one, I did take some sewing classes, so I learnt there, but I also, I used to be a member of Craftsy, and there were some really good Craftsy sewing classes where I learnt how to do things like that. I think there was one with Diana Rupp. I could be completely wrong. I'll put that down if that's incorrect. But anyway, I love these skirts. Obviously, I've made 5 of them. So I think that's it for what I'm wearing. That actually took, the only other thing, because it was cold this morning when I left, I wore my clay sweater by Ozetta, and I knit that out of BC Garn Loch Lomond in... yeah, that's it, BC Garn Loch Lomond. I can't remember the colour number, but everything, any of my projects, I'll put links to them in my Ravelry project page. As for what I knit, I had a very long day at school yesterday. I knit very little. The only thing I knit on was my blanket for my daughter Mia, and that's all I've got left of my last ball. I've got about 30 grams. So I think I've got maybe 20 rows to go and a bind off, and it'll be done. So hopefully tonight. Last little thing, I finished at lunchtime today, but I stayed a little bit longer because it was the little knitting group, and I brought the needles that my Knitters Guild had donated, and I taught one of the girls there how to knit, and she was amazing. She was so good, like just straight away. She was like, this is the same girl that I taught to crochet last Thursday, and so obviously, you know, sort of she got pretty good fine motor skills. And anyway, I was so proud of her, and she didn't even seem that proud of herself. She's like, well, yeah, you just do the same thing. She seemed very matter of fact about it. But, you know, I've definitely seen a lot of people struggle with the, you know, mechanics of knitting. So yeah, it was just really nice. And so she's taken that project home with her. And I thought, I want her to be able to have a nice project bag to put it in her school bag. And I had all my knitting with me, so I just grabbed one of my project bags and gave it to her and thought, you know, like, it just might be nice for her to have a little bag to keep it in. So anyway, that was my day today. It's 2:30. I'm going to have a cup of tea, do a little bit of knitting before I do any other kind of work or admin or home jobs. Right, so I hope everyone's having a good day, and I'll be back tomorrow.